So welcome everybody back to the UFO Show for episode 2. My name is Adam. Unfortunately, my co-host Andy is not here this week, but we're going to truck on once again. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with thanking our sponsor for the show, bet99.net. If you do go to the Area 51 Sports Network website and go down to the betting segment and the sponsor segment, you can get match up to $600 on initial deposit through bet99.com. So once you do that, you get an additional $600 on top of your initial deposit. So let's jump in here with a little bit of hockey. Now, as you know, we do have a couple of elimination games. We have the Montreal Canadiens versus Vegas Golden Knights tonight, and then we have the New York Islanders and Tampa Bay Lightning Game 7 tomorrow. So earlier in the day, we saw Montreal was at plus 120, plus 125, depending on the betting site that you use. For bet99.com, it was plus 125. Robin Lehner has announced the starter, and now about half an hour before game time, Montreal is at plus 115. So like we mentioned last week, you want to ensure that whatever you do, if there is a possibility of a goalie change, if you hear something, you want to put down that bet. Joining me also this week, we have Bowman from the new basketball show on Area 51. So would you like to quickly, throw out some information about the new show?
Hello, everybody. Jay Bowman here. Show is called Van Slam. We'll be recording it on Saturdays. Myself, Sean Warren, Joshua Griffiths from the Unnamed Sports Show. A couple fellas getting together talking hoops every single week. Really looking forward to it. Sure would be great if there was a pro team in Vancouver. Man, that would be something. But we should have no shortage of stuff to talk about for the rest of the playoffs. Also, the NBA offseason is always, always crazy. And then moving forward into next season as well. So, super thrilled to be a part of it.
So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of a pause on the Montreal Canadiens and New York Islanders Tampa Bay Vegas series, and we'll jump right into basketball. So Bowman, you're as I understand it, you're Team Bucks here, right? Over Atlanta?
I am. I still am after yesterday, although I don't know, at some point I might have to stop thinking the Hawks are going to fall on their faces, because I cannot believe that they won in game 1, but I'm still going with the Bucks. I think they, got surprised, and they're going to come out and play really well in game 2. And I think the Bucks take it in, I'd say 5 or 6.
So we do have a boosted odd. We're going to get the official odds out once Bet99 puts it up on their site. But we have, for tomorrow's game, the Milwaukee Bucks by 1 to 5 points at plus 340. So we're going to boost those odds. What do you think about this? Looks like it's going to be a tight series. So what do you think about that bet Milwaukee's going to win it by 2-3 points probably?
I don't know. I mean, I felt like through most of the 76ers series that there would be a blowout at some point. I thought for certain the Hawks don't necessarily have the defensive capabilities to hold off the offense of the 76ers. And then I still feel the same way about the Bucks. Not sure if I like it at like that close of a game. At some point, I feel like the bottom's going to drop out on the Hawks, and they're going to lose a game by 20, 30 points.
So we do. One of the big topics around Philadelphia right now is Ben Simmons. So if you were to put odds on if he's going to be a Philadelphia 76ers next year or if he's going to be on another team next year, which side are you taking?
Okay. I've been obviously wrestling with a lot of this since Sunday, since Game 7, and thinking about it a lot. Part of me feels like I don't know if they make a deal for him in the offseason, because I think it's very public that his value is at an all-time low. Daryl Morey is a very, very smart general manager, did an amazing job in the offseason last year with the 76ers. I think in the basketball world, there's nobody with a lower stock right now than Ben Simmons. Part of me feels like they'll work with him in the offseason. They bring him back next year for part of the year and then use the first part of the season to drive up his value again, because he's still a really, really good basketball player, still can make the team around him better. It's just we have some very high profile playoff choke jobs from Ben Simmons. So part of me feels like they are just going to bring him back, although that's a real tough sell for the Philly fan base. Bring him back just to drive up his value and then deal him at the trade deadline, or deal him to a team that maybe has an injury and they need something, and then the 76ers can recoup some more picks or a better player or something like that. So I feel like he is on the team next year, but not for the entire season. If that's a line that you could bet on.
So as we get closer to the season, those type of lines will come out. Will Ben Simmons start with the 76ers? Will he not? I know one big thing when it comes to betting is Australia's Olympic chances. So they haven't released the full bets yet on the Olympics, just because we're a little bit far out and we don't know which teams. But Australia with Ben Simmons, maybe they have a chance to medal. Australia without Ben Simmons, I don't know. Like they might finish close to bottom of their group.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I thought he wasn't going to play in the Olympics. If he's not there, obviously I don't count on Australia to medal at all. If he is there, though, I don't feel like him having that same amount of pressure and scrutiny that he would have during the NBA playoffs in such a high-profile series. I don't see that happening to him, even on a scale as big as the Olympics. So I feel like that they probably would medal. I think they would pull a bronze with Ben Simmons there, a bit lower pressure, lower stakes than what he went through in the playoffs, because he is damaged right now. You can't not watch his play in that series, especially towards the tail end of it when he started getting the yips from the hack a Ben strategy. Him not dunking that ball to score the tying basket in the fourth quarter is the most scared I think I've seen an NBA player in a long time. He is fundamentally broken. So I don't know if he even goes to the Olympics or he just takes the time to recover and recuperate.
So let's look into, teams that are still in the playoffs. So Bet99 does have the future odds for NBA champion. So we have Phoenix as the leader at plus 100. Then you got Milwaukee at plus 155, Atlanta at plus 680, and which is very surprising, you got the Clippers at plus 1200. Now I'm guessing that's a little bit because of Kawhi, but who are you taking in that to win the NBA Finals based off of those odds?
Phoenix. Absolutely, I go with Phoenix. They've won, 9-10 straight now? They're on an absolute roll. Doesn't look like anything's going to be able to stop them. The only thing that would make that a little bit dicey was if Kawhi were to come back. But even if he does come back at any point in this series, what level is he going to be playing at? Yeah, I completely understand the Clippers being such long odds. In the East, hard to say, because Atlanta has been surprising and confounding people for the last several weeks, and to see them win a very, very close game one against a perennially underachieving but very talented Milwaukee team, that one's a bit tougher to call. I still feel like Milwaukee's going to get their stuff together. I feel like Milwaukee's going to win that series in 5 or 6, but the Atlanta Hawks or the Montreal Canadiens of these NBA playoffs, who knows how they've gotten so far, but they keep defying the odds. And potentially you lay some money down on that, they could win you something pretty big.
My favorite Atlanta Hawk fact, I think it was from last year, where they said Vince Carter is older than Trae Young's dad.
Oh my god!
That's just incredible.
I'm mid 30s. I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear that at all. But yeah, I'm still stunned with everything the Atlanta Hawks have done in the postseason this year. I mean, the Philadelphia series, that should have been 4 or 5 easy, but they're playing with that same level of confidence that I think a Canadiens team does in the NHL, where ever since, I mean, even round 1 against the Knicks, not a lot of people gave them a chance, even though they came in really hot, riding a pretty hot win streak in the second half of the year with Nate McMillan. But here's a team with a chip on their shoulder that has basically been told for the last however long in the playoffs that, oh yeah, you're going to get rolled up by the number 1 seed. Yeah, you escaped against the Knicks, but okay, now the real basketball is being played. You're going to get outclassed by Philadelphia. And even when they had seemingly insurmountable deficits against Philadelphia, they still fought back and won those games. So the confidence level and the amount of swagger, which I'm sure isn't something you could bet on, but the swagger line on the Atlanta Hawks couldn't be any higher.
Well, it's the exact same as Montreal. Like there's some weird mojo, like there's something going on. Bergevin's walking out with the red suits. He's ready. Like there's something going on that you just can't really, swagger per 60. You can't measure it in the playoffs.
As a sports fan, you absolutely love to see it. Here's this underdog darling that is getting in and just wrecking stuff. Obviously, when one of your teams is a team that goes down to them, I feel for you, Maple Leafs fans. You don't enjoy it as much, but you can still appreciate the story of, hey, here's a team, made up a bunch of scrappy players. Nobody's really given them a shot, and they are making moves. They are making things happen, and I'm sure confounding a lot of sports bettors all over the place as well.
So we talked a little bit about the NBA Finals. I'm going to give you the 4 leaders, I guess, so 1 player per team that's in the Final 4, the odds for MVP of the Finals. So we got Giannis at plus 170. You got Devin Booker at plus 215. You got Trae Young at plus 700, and then Paul George at plus 1600. You also have Chris Paul at plus 420. So right. Which bet do you think you're taking out of those 4 or 5?
I think I take Chris Paul. Even though he's missed some time, he will be back for the next game. I think Chris Paul will come in, close out that series with some great performances, and then I think they're done early against the Clippers, and he'll have some time to rest and recuperate. And then I think just with everything Chris Paul has been through, like back with the Clippers and stuff, the fact that he potentially has not at winning a championship before a lot of his contemporaries at the time. I think just for that story alone, maybe not even factoring in individual performances during these playoffs, of which he's been fantastic. I think just based on that, it wouldn't be surprising to see Chris Paul probably. I think the Suns are winning the title, and I think the MVP is going to be one of those 2 guys, Paul or Booker, and I'm going to go with Paul.
Do you think that there is somebody against Chris Paul in the NBA head office, or like the NBA head office is just doing everything that they can to prevent Paul from winning his championship? They block his trade over to LA. All of a sudden he's in COVID protocol. Like there's just a lot of weird stuff going around with he never seems to be on a contender, even though he turns teams around every single year. Do you think there's some weird conspiracy theory around keeping Chris Paul not having a ring for whatever reason?
Hard to say. I mean, I know there's tons of NBA conspiracy theories floating around out there. The NBA clearly hates the process. And I think Adam Silver's openly made comments against what the 76ers did in the mid 2010s in order to get those number 1 overall picks. So I'm not opposed to thinking there are NBA conspiracies. When it comes to Chris Paul, though, hard to say. I mean, when you say it all like that, when you line all that stuff up, you kind of go, oh, maybe there could be something to there. But I think this is an undeniable year for him regardless. I think they can put whatever they want to in his path, and it's not going to help. Nothing stopping the Phoenix Suns this year, which I think is awesome because it's great not to see the Lakers or the Spurs or the Heat or any of the perennial teams. There was a stat I read weeks ago. I can't remember the exact ones. This will be a bit clumsy, but this is the first NBA Finals in the last 17 years that didn't feature one of 5 teams. And it was the Warriors, the Heat, the Spurs, and there were other teams. The fact that that's crazy to me that those teams are so heavily involved in a league where there seems to be a lot of parity. So I am loving the fact that the Phoenix Suns, who spent the entire 2010s being a bottom feeder, have this team and are going on this run. And I don't see them being stopped, whether that's by Atlanta or Milwaukee on the other side.
So let's throw out some prop bets for tomorrow. On bet99.com, they have something called a player performance double, where you can bet on players' performances plus if their team is going to win. So why don't we do this? DeAndre Ayton, do you think that he can get 14 plus rebounds and Phoenix win tomorrow?
Yes.
So if you put down some money on DeAndre Ayton, if you put down $10 on DeAndre Ayton to get 14 plus total rebounds and Phoenix to win, $10 is a $52.50 return. So they do have these cool little bets that you can make. What about Devin Booker to have 5 assists and a Phoenix win?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's plus 200. So you get $30.10 back if you put down some money there. So speaking of, conspiracy theories and everything, we talk a lot. We're going to transition here to hockey. And there's a lot of talk. I know there's a lot of people that feel like Bettman wants to do everything he can to ensure that the cup doesn't come back to Canada. And some of that we have revolving around the reffing. So the reffing in the Montreal series, I think we can admit that it hasn't been the prettiest. It's been pretty bad. So let's talk a little bit about that Montreal-Vegas game today. So right now, Montreal's at plus 115, Vegas at minus 135. Do you think that Montreal closes it out tonight?
I don't. Nope.
You don't? Oh.
I don't. I think I have a hard time thinking that they're going to actually win the series. Vegas is super talented. I know they've got a case of the yips right now. They can't believe what's going on, that their backs up against the wall like they do. However, to your point, I agree that Bettman does not want the cup in Canada, even if it's to Montreal, who, profitable franchise, legacy franchise, and everything. I don't see Vegas winning the game today. I wouldn't rule them out in the series either. That's too talented a group to keep down like that. Let's not forget what they did against Colorado. Obviously, they are confounded right now. They can't believe the situation they're in, but I think Vegas figures out a way to win today, and I think I wouldn't count them out at all in the series. And I think that, what's the betting line on them coming back and winning the whole thing? Do you know yet?
We only have I can pull it up quickly here.
Yeah.
But obviously Montreal is the favorite at the moment to win the series.
Yep.
Vegas is plus 340 to win the Stanley Cup. Montreal is plus 300, and then Tampa is plus 130. So basically they're saying, yeah, Montreal is the favorite. Montreal's the favorite to win the series at minus 192.
Yeah.
So they are really leaning Montreal, but at the same time, the fact that Vegas at plus 340 and Montreal's only at plus 300 to win the cup, it kind of adds a little bit of speculation. And like they think that even though Montreal is the favorite, that Vegas still has that pretty good chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out Vegas at all. And if the odds are shifting in Montreal's favor, I would basically just transition that and put a little bit more on Las Vegas. Again, I can't mention enough that that's a super talented team. They've facing a little bit of adversity here, obviously, but I think they figure it out. I don't want it to happen. I want to make that perfectly clear. This isn't an ideal scenario that I hope Vegas comes back. I don't want that to happen at all. I want Montreal not only winning this thing, but it's tough for me to process and say, I'm good with Montreal winning the Stanley Cup and bringing it back to Canada. I never wanted any team to do that and to break that, to end that drought, except for the Vancouver Canucks. But we have at least 2 years before Benning's 9-year plan is complete. So it's not going to be Vancouver most likely. So if it's going to be anybody, might as well be the last team that won it back in '93. So, and what a story! This, drag team from the North Division, everybody kind of turning their nose at it all year, down 3-1 against the class of that division, the Toronto Maple Leafs, roar back. It's a great story. I don't know if you're a hockey fan outside of those other three markets, and maybe Toronto as well, and you don't want to see Montreal win this thing.
Yeah, and for for people who are Vancouver Giants fans, if Montreal wins the cup, Brendan Gallagher, former Vancouver Giant, Brett Kulak, former Vancouver Giant, there's a lot of BC connections to Montreal.
Yeah.
So if you're from Vancouver, BC, Montreal seems like that team that you cheer for. I'm not sure about the exact number breakdown, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close where Montreal is probably leading in BC boys.
Yeah, well, everyone talks about Burrows. Oh, let's get Burrows back. It'll be great to see Burrows back in the Cup final as a coach, and everyone's rooting for Burrows, and I'm rooting for Burrows too. But for me, to your point exactly, it goes to Brendan Gallagher. Gallagher was my favorite all-time Giant. Loved watching Brendan Gallagher play. Went back and watched the game where they did his Ring of Honor thing. I still got my nice framed poster from that. Yeah, I'd love to see Brendan Gallagher win a cup. That'd be phenomenal. It'd be great.
So you said Vegas is going to win today. So give me a couple, give me maybe a score or a couple. Let's go with a couple goal scores for today. So bet99.com, what they do is they have something called quick picks. So you can bet on who's going to score. So anytime goal scorers and how many goals they're going to score. So let's throw out a couple names here and see what we can combine for who's going to score tonight.
Okay. I think Tuck scores.
So Tuck is interesting because he's not on here because they weren't 100% sure if he was going to play or not today.
Right. Okay.
And so his bet kind of got. Oh no, they re-added it on. So Tuck is a plus 250. So who else are we going with?
Marcia Show.
Okay, Jonathan Marchessault, that's plus 175.
Yep.
And who else?
William Karlsson.
William Karlsson, so plus 275. So $10 on Alex Tuck gets you $35. $10 on Jonathan Marchessault gets you $27.50, and $10 on William Karlsson gets you $37.50. So if you put $10 on each, that's how you have to put them on each player. You can't combine them, but right. $30 makes you a little bit over $90. So that's a pretty good bet there.
All right, Adam. Now, if I'm looking for big money, if I'm looking to cash in and kick back and retire, what kind of odds am I getting if Fleury or Leonard goes the length of the ice and scores an empty net goal? What am I looking at there?
Well, unfortunately, they don't have that. But if you want big money, Robin Leonard to make 39 plus saves pays out at plus 651.
Okay.
So it's a $10 gets you 75.
Okay.
Now, this one is interesting for me as well. So Eric Stahl, he scored in the last game.
Yep.
$10 gets you $55. He's at plus 450.
Really?
Yeah, that one is. There might be underestimating Stahl. Shea Weber's at plus 500. But if you really want to go with you can retire right away. Maybe Eric Stahl hat trick. $10 on an Eric Stahl hat trick. The odds are plus 10,900, but with Bet99 you can only bet up to 90 cents on it because the return is $100 on that.
Okay, all right. So I can cancel my call to the Fur Coat and Cigar Emporium then when I make that bet. The Eric Stahl thing is interesting because I think those are good bets because we're looking at a closeout game in the conference finals to go to the cup finals. I feel like the veterans, he's going to get some decent minutes and some decent opportunity out there. He's been there before.
So one other thing about this is, let's say that Montreal is up big, up by 1 goal in the end. You have guys like Shea Weber at plus 500 to score, and you have guys like Jeff Petrie who are plus 500 to score. If there's an empty net, you win.
Yep.
As well. So that's also something that we have to take into account. Like, who's going to be out there in the last minute or the last 2 minutes when there's an empty net out there? And who knows if this game goes to overtime? I know the overtimes this year haven't been short, but if this game goes to overtime and you have Carey Price and Robin Lehner, so Carey Price plus 40 and Robin Lehner plus 39, $10 on each of those, you're walking away with over $130. So if you want to play that game where you think it's going to go to overtime, or that you think that this is just going to be a complete shootout with the goaltenders saving everything that they can, you could win some pretty big money off of bet99.com if you put down some more or less, I guess, more, what's the word I'm looking for? More adventurous bets.
Right, which are always the fun ones because you watch it through your fingers. Sometimes not, super nervous about what's going on. But it's always also fun to make an adventurous bet like here or there, right? And everybody can take the easy odds. So, I hope the series continues because I'd love to see 7 games between those two teams. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here, but we'll throw out one more hockey themed game. 7. Tampa minus 172. New York Islanders plus 140. Who are you taking?
Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. I just can't gravitate away from the powerhouses. As much as I love the underdog stories and all that sort of stuff, and I love, the fact the Islanders have gotten this far. Again, I go talent pretty much every time, which has not, helped out a lot recently, basketball wise. But I don't know. I'm going Tampa still. Not having the crowd there and the constant threat of maybe they're going to get pelted with aluminum beer cans might be something that gives Tampa Bay the edge.
We got a comment here. Bowman loving the evil empires.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So one thing to watch.
They'll win.
One thing to watch about that game, and we've mentioned this before, is Nikita Kucherov. So if you are going to put a bet down, my suggestion is to put it down tonight on that game, especially if you want to go with the Islanders. The reason is that if Nikita Kucherov, if it comes out tomorrow that he cannot play, those odds are going to shift dramatically. So right now, plus 140 with the Islanders. If Nikita Kucherov isn't playing, we could see something like a plus 120. Those odds are going to shift a lot. I know that, he's only one player, but he is a key piece. They still have guys like Braden Point, but that's just how the Vegas bets go. So if you want to put money on the Islanders, maybe put it on tonight. If you want to put money on Tampa Bay, wait until Nikita Kucherov is confirmed, because if he's not confirmed, after that is the time to put money on the Lightning, because the odds will change a little bit and you might get a little bit more money back.
Yeah. You also think, like, psychologically, you're a Tampa Bay Lightning team that had a chance to close it out and then didn't, and then now you're potentially missing one of your top guns. Yeah, that's actually not a terrible idea.
Well, they're also, even with Stamkos, or even without Kucherov, they're still like $5 million over the cap just based off the game day rosters. So in the end, yeah. So thank you very much for joining us. Do you want to give a quick shout out once again to the show?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So we are doing our first episode this weekend. Super, super excited about it. It is Van Slam on the Area 51 network. Myself, Sean Warren, Joshua Griffith. We're going to have a great time. I'm super looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
So once again, thank you to bet99.com. If you go to our website, the Area Sports Network, Area 51 Sports Network website, and you go down to betting and you use the link, you can get up to $600 off of your initial deposit. And look out for our boosted odds. As soon as we get our graphics ready and as soon as we get those exact numbers, we're going to post them out there. But we're boosting Milwaukee to win the game tomorrow. That's Andy and I's pick for tomorrow, between 1 and 5 points. So hopefully that lands. We know last week we were a little bit off, but we didn't expect Portugal to concede 2 own goals. I don't think anybody expected that. So that kind of threw our bet out of the water there. But thank you once again. we'll see you again next week. And for Adam Bauman and Sean Warren, this has been the UFO Show on the Area 51 Sports Network.